Chapter 438, Low-Profile Opponent. So his movement wasn't his strongest trait, it was his blade work instead. Luo Feng stared at the youth Rong Jun. At the same time he reminisced about his match with him from 5 years ago. My true aim is the entire universe's number one. That roar seemed to resound in Luo Feng's ears once again. Number one? So, this savage Rong Jun wasn't just making bold comments. Yes, Rong Jun had so much knowledge on even the 4 secret areas of the Virtual Universe Company. Obviously he wasn't just a simple frog in the well. Luo Feng thought he had so much information on the standards of the previous number ones of the competitions, and he dared to actually say his aim was to be the overall number one, meaning he had some guarantee. Before unleashing that completely shocking blade work, Rong Jun was regarded as one who would reach within the top 20, but now that he's defeated Gu Si Luo, top 5, he definitely has strength who could reach top 5. The large youth that was completely black, Ao Pa Te La said softly. That blade work is simply... The green-robed purple-scaled man flew in mid-air. A formless pressure naturally caused the 1,000 geniuses to turn to him. Congratulations to the 10 victors. You've entered the top 10, your prize has risen to 1,000 mixed elements and you have the right to enter the absolute beginning secret area. The green-armored purple-scaled man smiled. This time's top 10 battles have been very exciting. Some punks have actually really surprised me. The 1,000 geniuses along with the 1,008 undyings all listened obediently to that 9 Blades Knight. Bolin, Qian Shui, Luo Feng, Jiang Mo, Lancelot, Wuka, Ai Chen, Long Yun, Ao Pa Te La, Rong Jun. Congratulations to the 10 of you. In a moment, we'll pick the top 5 from you 10 and finally the top 2 from the final 5. The green-armored purple-scaled man smiled. As to how you are separated into your groups, according to the Virtual Universe System's set rules on how fast you completed your match before, there were some quick and slow matches before. The fastest will battle against the slowest. The second fastest will battle against the second slowest, and so on. Hua! The 1,008 undyings were shocked. The 990 spectating geniuses were shocked too. Even the 10 absolute geniuses who were about to battle were stunned. The time sequence was Bolin, Qian Shui, Luo Feng, Jiang Mo, Lancelot, Wuka, Ai Chen, Long Yun, Ao Pa Te La and Rong Jun. If the fastest were to match up against the slowest, then Bolin was up against Rong Jun. Qian Shui versus Ao Pa Te La. Luo Feng against Long Yun. Jiang Mo against Ai Chen. Lancelot against Wuka. The most outstanding from the earlier battle, Rong Jun, actually matched up against the terrifying death god Bolin. According to what everyone present thought, including the 1,008 undyings, everyone regarded meeting the death god as a sure loss without doubt. Rong Jun against Bolin? Luo Feng looked at the distant wild youth. That's bad. Even though Rong Jun's true strength is terrifying, no matter how much his strength explodes, his opponent is Bolin. And Bolin far exceeds the rest of us. Rong Jun will definitely lose. As Bolin was too strong, one could see just from the training space what the outcome would be. Being ahead of everyone by an entire tower, almost everyone held their breaths for Rong Jun. One had to know that the settings by the Virtual Universe System couldn't be changed and only accepted. Also, other than the 9 present, no one else would want to meet Bolin. However, one would ultimately have to. And this unlucky person was Rong Jun. Rest for a while, the arena duels will begin shortly. The green-armored purple-scared man's voice resounded in everyone's ears. Interesting, really interesting. 13. Your two seedlings from the Gonwu Universe country are both very powerful. Especially that Rong Jun. While others are using techniques created by ancestors and earlier generations, that Rong Jun actually created his own technique. That blade work, after fusing both the ground and space origin laws together, the strength is actually so powerful. If he didn't meet Bolin, he could have totally made it to number 2. Don't compliment him so much. He is strong, but that other one. Luo Feng doesn't seem any weaker. His mental state and willpower is perfect within his generation. One's willpower and mental state will determine how far one finally goes later on. In comparison, I actually prefer Luo Feng. As for Rong Jun, actually he's still too weak now in the star level. Creating his own technique at this time is too early. Learn from others first, at least become a sector lord, and when your sights have widened and your understanding of the origin laws have gotten deeper, it wouldn't be too late to create your own technique then. Makes sense. What you say isn't exactly right. That Rong Jun creating his own technique, even though it's just the beginning, you can still see how huge that power is. And by creating one's own technique, when unleashing its strength, it becomes even greater. Other people's techniques are after all still others, your own would be best. It's much too early for that. Now isn't the time to be creating your own technique. Surrounding the scale armored giant, the other Undyings began to discuss. The scale armored giant creased his eyebrows. Looking at the distant Rong Jun and Luo Feng, his eyes could hardly suppress the happiness. These two punks really surprise me time and again. Among the 1008 universe countries competing, there are actually 2 of them in the top 10 from our Gonwu universe country. Haha, if the leader knew, he'd be very happy. The 1008 Undyings in the plaza, along with the 990 other geniuses, were constantly discussing. However, the final 10 geniuses were quietly waiting. Initially they felt a little pity for Rong Jun, but after, they all began to notice their own opponents. Long Yun. Luo Feng looked at the distant silhouette. He was tall at 2 m, he had a muscular build and looked strong. Wearing a strange style of heavy armor, he had a helmet with a horn on it. His gaze was deep and unfathomable, and the side of his face even had some yellow fur. He was Long Yun, a very low-profile youth from the Lon Ting universe country. He had never attracted anyone's attention. Since the beginning of the gathering of the Million Geniuses, people like hypnotist Jiao Lai Shi, the Manka Prince, Ao Gu Se Planet's genius siblings, Savage Rong Jun, etc., many had reputations that were much more renowned. However, no one really paid attention to Long Yun. During the training space, even though he was in the top 100, he was still in the back 50. As for making it into the top 100, Long Yun's victories were simple. These victories were not very glaring or outstanding, because everyone else's victories were simple too eye-catching. Making it into the top 10, Long Yun's victory seemed very taxing. This Long Yun's strength? Luo Feng jumped within, right, I've never really noticed him before. Very average and keeping a low profile, this was Long Yun. What seemed like a rather normal punk actually made it to the top 10. Luo Feng. Sitting not too far from Luo Feng was the wild youth, communicating via genetic energy. Something the matter? Luo Feng looked over. Be careful of Long Yun. The wild youth communicated, from my observations and information gathered before, among the top 20, 19 of them have comprehension of 2 origin laws. Only one person has comprehension of just one origin law. Luo Feng stepped through the gateway of gold and space laws. Rong Jun stepped through the gateway of ground and space laws. Everyone else was similar, like the death god Bolin stepped through the gateway of wind and space laws, while Li Feng stepped through wind and wood, or that Ai Chen stepping through light and time. Of the 19 that stepped through 2 gateways, 8 had stepped through space, 6 stepped through time, the other 5 didn't have any comprehension of time or space at all. However, no matter the case, these 19 are all that stepped through 2 gateway laws. Only one person had comprehension of just one origin law, and that's Long Yun. The wild youth communicated. Ah! Luo Feng was shocked. He hadn't researched so much in detail. In the history of every genius competition between the 1008 universe countries' absolute geniuses, those that were able to make it into the top 20 were mostly all who comprehended 2 origin laws, or focused on space or time. He comprehends the ground origin laws, which are very heavy and grounded. His defense is extremely strong, and his attack is very strong too. His comprehension far exceeds my single use of the ground origin laws. Be careful. Rong Jun communicated. Thanks. Luo Feng replied. No need, I don't have a big chance of victory in my fight. If you can win, I'll be happy too. Rong Jun said. Luo Feng looked at Rong Jun and smiled. All the best, you never know, you might be able to topple that Bolin. Haha. You never know, however I will never admit defeat easily. Rong Jun smiled back. Half an hour later. The original arenas in the plaza had vanished. Tremors began again and 5 even more luxurious and beautiful arenas rose and floated above. The light cover on the arenas were translucent light membranes. These membranes, under the light ball in the sky, reflected 7 colors of light below. It was beautiful. As for the 10 youth geniuses, they were all transported to their respective arenas. Rong Jun against Bolin, Luo Feng against Long Yun. 5 absolute pinnacle battles, it was about to begin. Within the beautiful arena, Luo Feng faced Long Yun. Long Yun's entire body was covered in heavy armor. His helmet had a horn on it. With a flip of his hand he brandished a terrifying huge axe, his eyes staring hard at Luo Feng, a powerful strength-based fighter. The skinny Luo Feng stood on the dark cloud shuttle, carrying the Nanshan armament on his back. He was a proper spirit reader controller. You are very strong. A thick booming voice, almost like a bull roaring. Long Yun stared coldly at Luo Feng, emphasizing, you are much stronger than what I expected. To show you the respect I have for such a strong warrior like yourself, I will use my full strength and defeat you. The moment his words ended, yellow energy began to emanate from his body. This yellow energy rippled about, the surrounding space seemed to almost condense and solidify. A formless heavy pressure was formed. This made the distant Luo Feng's expression change. It's too abnormal. Monster. This. Madness. This Long Yun is really sly and simply too devious. The spectating 990 geniuses were all shocked. Even the distant 1008 undyings, among those who were watching this match, many of them revealing a look of shock. Right, to be able to rely on only the ground origin laws to make it into the top 10. Also, to have such deep comprehension of the ground laws, yet not stepping into the space laws is the weird thing. But it's really true, it's just this way. And just his domain alone was already that terrifying.